Well, hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Cowboy Survival. I am Richard, and today we're going to look at how to make your own possibles bag, tinder bag, fire kit bag, whatever you want to call it, out of leather and some leather stripping and some deer bone. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun to take a look at this. I've got this set up right now as a fire kit, so I can open this up and I'll show you. I've got all kinds of stuff in here. I've got all my my char cloth, the can. I've got fire starters in here. I've got my ferro rod in here. I got all kinds of stuff in this kit right now, but you could use it for a lot of things. A lot of people use these for tinder collection bags, so they've always got a good collection of tinder available to them. They're really easy to make, and I thought what we do today is walk through how you can make one for yourself. Okay, so let's just first look at the tools we're going to need for this project. I've got myself a small coping saw here, and this saw is really to use to cut my deer antler, because I'm going to be using a piece of this deer antler for the toggle that I use in this thing. The second thing I'm going to do is I've got a pen and I've got a ruler. Now the pen and the ruler are going to be used to sort of mark out where I need to make my cuts. This is an interesting tool I have. You plant this in the center of a circle, and then you can move this around in a circle, and it's got a cutting wheel on it. I don't know if you can see that cutting wheel on that right there, but it's got a little cutting wheel right here, and it'll cut right through that leather, which will make it really, really nice. And then I've got a leather hole punch, which I'm going to need later. Next thing, let's take a look at what materials we're going to need. Okay, let's just look at the materials we're going to need for this project. First, I've already shown you my deer antler, and I just got this off of eBay. Actually, I just bought it from a guy who's selling a couple of shed antlers on eBay, so I bought that. You can see I've already cut some off for other projects, so I just keep doing this, and I've got another antler just like this one. In addition, I've got my leather. Now, this is the foundation of this project. It's going to be a leather tinder pouch. It's not real thick leather. It's very flexible. It's going to bend real nice. It's going to draw up really nicely when I put that drawstring in. This is my leather binding they're going to use for my drawstring. So I'll cut out the circle. I'll put in the holes. I'll thread this through, and then when I pull that leather binding, it's going to pull that together into that pouch shape. So that's all the materials I need for this. It's a very simple project. Let's get busy cutting out our first circle that we're going to need to make the pouch. So we're going to start with my cutting tool. I pre-measured this thing so that it is 8 inches from my blade to my set point, because I'm going to make a 16-inch circle. Now you can make them bigger or smaller. 16 inches is a good size. So what I'll do is I've already figured out with that, if I put it right here, and I've got a little hole right there I've already made, put that point right there, I can make me a nice circle going all the way around here with this thing, and it's going to go all the way around. Now, I will tell you, when you're using one of these things, they're not real, they don't cut like you're cutting through tissue paper. You have to put some pressure on them, and you have to really force and work it. So we're going to go through and cut this thing, and you can hear it as it cuts through that leather. So you can see it's already cutting through. Okay, so I've got my circle, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in about 1 inch, and what I want to do is I want to start making some marks. And the marks are going to be where I'm going to put my my holes, and I'm going to do one about every inch, I think. That's a lot of holes, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my item here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, loosen that, and I'm going to come in about 1 inch like this. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a line around here. I'm not cutting, I'm just doing a line. Just sort of scribe a line around here. And this line is going to tell me where to put those holes. So it's very faint. I can see the line. Again, it's a very, very faint line. But it's going to allow me to now go through and make the holes where I need to make the holes. So now that I've scribed my line, I'm going to take my tape measure, and about every inch or so I'm going to make a little mark. And these marks are going to be where I'm going to put my, doesn't have to be perfect. So I've set my wheel. You can get a hammer hole punch if you want. These are kind of nice. These hole punches here, you can get different hole sizes with them, and they're designed as sort of a little plier thing. Use leverage, and they're really nice because you can just move the wheel to the size you want, and then you can punch the hole with it that you want. So I'm going to use the largest one, and I'm just going to start doing my holes. Simply put that item on there, and you punch your hole. And it comes right out of there. You can see. So I'm just going to punch these holes all the way around. So I'm just about done. It's a lot of holes. See, I got the little leather punches all over the place. Put one more right in the middle. And there we go. So now I've got holes, you can see, all the way around this. Next thing to do is to lace my leather through that so that I have something to draw my string up. So as you can see, it's starting to take shape. I'm still working my leather as I go around. Still getting twisted. Okay, so I've got my thing on. Now, I had an extra hole here. Somehow I ended up with an extra hole. Didn't know how, but I ended up with an extra hole. But that's okay. So when you pull this up, you want to start pulling it up initially. And you're just going to start pulling this thing and pulling these together. And you see how it's going to start bunching all these? That's exactly what you want it to do. You want it to bunch all these different pieces. And you're going to gradually work it around till it bunches them all up. And I like to put my hand in the center of it because that'll sort of make it bunch up nice and neat. You end up with a nice bag. Now you have to sort of train this to come up like this. You don't want it to be inside. You want it to be on the outside. So you sort of train it like that. Now you can also put something in the bottom. So I'm probably going to put something in the bottom of this so that it'll stiffen it up a little bit, so that it won't be quite so irregular. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to get a piece. Now see how that's sort of flat right there? And anytime I want to open it, I just pull this and pull that open. Now, what I'm also going to do is, like I said, I'm going to get a hard piece of leather to put in the bottom of this. And then what I'm also going to do, I'm going to put a keeper on here. Now let me show you what I'm going to do with the keeper. So I'm going to take my original piece of leather, and I am going to cut down here. This is just an extra piece, so I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to cut that. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and make that more square because I don't like that irregular look. Now, I got that little square. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to punch a hole in the center of that. About in the center of that. There we go. And I'm going to pass both of these through that hole. Now it's going to be a tight fit. Have to stretch that a little bit to get that second one to come through. And a little trick I found, if I take my knife and cut that at an angle, make it a little point. I'm going to cut this off eventually anyway. I'll make a little point there at the end. It's easier to get it up through that hole. And this has to go on before your deer antler keeper goes on. So this is a little keeper that I can take, and I can just push this up all the way. And it'll help that bag stay closed once there's stuff in it. Now, the next thing is to create my little deer antler keeper on this, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do next. So I've got my deer antler, and I want to cut out a piece here and a piece about there. So I'm going to first take a cut right about here. Then I'm going to take another piece down. Matter of fact, yeah, because I want to save this for later. I got another project for that. I'm going to cut a piece right out of the middle, right about here. And so let me see if I, it's down, it's pretty tight. So I'll first cut off this piece. Now I'm going to cut off the rest of this right here. I'm going to have a little nice piece of this deer antler. And actually, I'm going to move that just a little bit so I give myself a little bit more space. So now I've got a nice little piece of deer antler here. Okay, so I'm going to drill this hole in this piece of bone. Now I hold on to it with these electrician's pliers. It's just a whole lot easier. I don't like to put my finger here because if the drill slips, I could put a hole in my finger. So I just hold it with this. And I've already started this hole, so I'm just going to finish it here. It's interesting. This smells, the smoke that comes off of this smells like burning hair, because essentially that's what an antler is. It's burning hair, right? And there we go. I got a nice hole right through that. And now what I can do is I can put this on my bag. So I've got this piece of deer antler here, and I'm going to take my rawhide and I'm going to pass it through here. I'm going to make sure that's turned the way I want it turned. It's not exactly the way I want it turned. It's gotten turned there. So I'll turn that around. I want that way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this other end of the rawhide, and you notice I've cut a point in it. I'm going to pass this point up through here, and I got to very carefully and sort of force it into that hole because it doesn't want to go real easy. And you see how it's just sticking out there right at the end. Pull it through. Let's see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to grab hold of that and pull that on through. Now, I have got a really nice keeper now on this bag. So not only do I have the little leather keeper here, but I've got my bone keeper that'll slide right up on that and keep that nice and tight. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop and lock system on this. So if I pull this all the way over, I can see that right about here, if I had a knot right about here, I could loop and lock that over that. So I'm going to go ahead and tie in an overhead knot right here. Again, I'm going to twist my rawhide so that it matches. Make sure that rawhide all matches up. I just like keeping it nice and neat like that. I just think it looks better. So just past where that bone is, I'm going to tie a little keeper or a little knot. See how that knot works, right? Now, let me pull this a little tighter. Now I can take this, pull this down, loop it over one end of my antler and the other end, and it will keep that whole bundle tied up until I'm ready to use it. Now I'm going to add one more decorative piece to this. And the decorative piece I'm going to add is another piece of antler. Now this is a piece of the same antler. This is the butt end. This is the end that came off of the deer's head where it detached. And I'm just going to pass this up through here. And I'm going to pass the other end up. Pass that on down here. And I'm going to tie one more knot. Tie another overhand knot in this. So I got a little decorative piece on that. So when I want to bring this over, just bring this over. I can lock that off if I need to keep it closed. And when I want to do this, I can open it up. And this also serves if I need to hang it on something. So if I was out in the woods, I needed to hang this to find a little nub. I can just hang that really nicely right there. And I've got my little tinder kit or tool kit or possibles kit, whatever I want to use it for, hanging right where I can get to it. So I've got my bag pretty much complete. What I'm going to put in the bottom is a really hard piece of leather. I got this from a friend of mine, Mike, at church. He does leather work, and he found a scrap that he was able to cut this 5-inch circle out. So I'm just going to put this in the bottom of my pouch. And what that's going to do is provide some structure to it and provide a little bit of a hard bottom. Now, one of the things I'm going to want you guys to do is tell me, should I sew this into the bottom or should I glue it into the bottom? If I sew it, that's going to put holes in it. It could make it, leak more readily. If I glue it, that could damage the underlying leather on this side, and the glue could come through, and I don't know, it might look kind of messy. So the question is, what would you do? So I'd like to hear from opinions. Let's do a vote. Would I sew it? Should I glue it? Or should maybe I do both? So let me know what you think. Anyway, I'm going to put that in there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this right now as a fire kit. And I've got some stuff. I got some, here's my little char cloth tin. I'll put that in there. I've got some little UCO, stormproof matches. I've got a couple of fire plugs. I've got some fire starters here. I've got a lighter. And I've got my ferro rod, all of which should be sufficient for a good fire kit. So now all I have to do is take this and pull this tight, put down my keeper, and I'm ready to go with my new fire kit. I really enjoyed making this project. I love doing things with my hands. I love making my own gear. This is kind of a neat piece of gear to have. It's got a piece of nice thick leather in the bottom to protect it and help it keep its shape. It draws together really nicely. I can carry it anywhere I want. I've got this on the end so I can hang it up on a tree if I need to. But a really nice piece of kit, other than have some kind of a manufactured zippered up pouch. I kind of like having my own handmade item that I can take with me into the field. So go make one yourself. I think you're really going to enjoy the outcome. It's an easy project. Look, if you liked the video today, click that like button down below. We'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 12,500 subscribers by the end of the summer. And if you subscribe, also hit that notification bell so you'll be told when we have new videos coming out. In the meantime, get outdoors, stay strong, stay prepared, and have a blessed day.